So we finally figured out what it takes for Jennifer Aniston to be in a comedy movie that's worth seeing 10 years or more after her work on Friends, after her near Adam Sandlerianly bad run of horrible comic romance movies like The Breakup, like The Bounty Hunter, like The Switch. She's in one that's worth watching. It comes out today. It's called Wanderlust. And we found out what it takes is you get to put her, and you give her to a director like David Wain, who's the guy that directed Wanderlust. He directed the massively cult favorite, Wet Hot American Summer, and the criminally underappreciated Role Models with Paul Rudd, who also stars in Wanderlust. What makes this movie great, the story, if you don't know, is Paul Rudd and Jennifer Aniston play Manhattanites who, due to a series of catastrophes, can no longer afford to live in Manhattan. They try to go to Georgia to live with family. They don't make it. They end up in a hippie commune led by the charismatic Lizard King leader Seth, played by Justin Theroux. And comedy ensues. The weird part is Paul Rudd, who was an actor that's so hot, really, as a comic guy, that he could pretty much probably write his own ticket. He's chosen to be in 2 movies in the past year that skewer the overwhelmingly dominant cultural, you know, in 2011 and 12 thing of there's just so many hippies everywhere. We need to make fun of, we need to let some air out of this hippie balloon. He was in Our Idiot Brother and now he's in Wanderlust. And it's kind of weird that he chose to make fun of hippies twice, because I don't think I've ever actually seen a hippie. Part of what makes Wanderlust work is that it's such a cemented, broad kind of stereotype, the goofy, guitar-playing, weed-smoking hippie. It's entrenched as a comedy trope, and things that are so strongly entrenched like that are fun to make fun of, even if it seems kind of cheap. But what makes it seem not cheap is the quality of the direction from David Wain. He's a guy that started out in sketch comedy, and his films, especially Wet Hot American Summer, seem to retain some of that looseness, that sketchiness. As Paul Rudd in Wanderlust gets to, you know, do his Paul Rudd thing, which is improvise on the spot a lot. You can tell it's happening, and it's pretty funny, as it always is. But what marks all of David Wain's kind of output is a through line of legitimately kind of funny nastiness. It's simultaneously really broad, but also quite edgy, which is a really entertaining, more or less unique perspective that we get. And what really makes it work, the whole thing beyond that, is the fact that they were smart enough to put something in the middle of the film between the 2 kind of normal Manhattanite characters who are having a quote-unquote normal, you know, romantic comedy storyline, and the group of buffoonish, weird, pot-smoking, howling hippies. There's something stuck between them that humanizes the one thing and legitimizes the other part's relationship, which is Alan Alda in a wheelchair playing the founder of the intentional community, who's lived there for 40 years, but over the process has gotten his mind kind of fried by acid, and has also kind of maybe fallen a little bit out of love with the ideals of the community. And we get to see Alan Alda doing what Alan Alda has done so well for his entire career, which is put a funny, charming, humanizing face on the more extreme seeming elements of American liberalism. He did it in MASH, and that's what made that show so important and so good, and made the guy that created MASH really mad, considering that he was a Republican originally. Alan Alda spent a bunch of the 90s kind of playing against his nice liberal guy type in a bunch of Woody Allen movies, and in movies like The Aviator in the 2000s, where he played a mean senator guy. But it's really exciting to see Alan Alda doing that stuff again. He's so good at it, and if there's ever, you know, an actor suited for a role, it's Alan Alda for roles like this. He's a natural, and to get to watch somebody being a natural, not doing improv necessarily, but just being really funny and well suited to a role is an absolute pleasure. So if you want to see more of that, what you should watch instead of Wanderlust is him doing the same thing in David O. Russell's Flirting with Disaster, which stars Ben Stiller and was made in 1990. And he does the same thing that he does in Wanderlust, more or less. It's an absolute pleasure, and I wish he just played somebody's weird old acid-fried uncle in every movie, and just continued to be the moral instruction of America, because he's just so good at it.